Yeah, all right. Yeah, so as always, let's just read out the safe harbor statement. Both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This presentation is strictly for learning purposes only. Organizer presenter do not hold any responsibility that same solution will work for your business requirements. And this presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. So a recording of the same session will be posted in the events page within 24 hours. And any questions you guys have regarding the topic, please feel free to put them in the chats. And also we have given you the mic access, audio access. So please feel free to unmute and even talk and make this more interactive. And yeah, of course, please give us the feedbacks post the meetup, so this helps us to improve ourselves and improve and maybe grow during the next meetup, correcting the mistakes and maybe making us more better. So coming to the organizers, myself, John. So I'm an integration developer and working with NJC Labs for the last 4+ years. And yeah, maybe over to you, Anup.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Anup Ramachandran. I'm working as an integration architect for NGC Labs for more than 4 years now. Currently based out in Melbourne. Yeah, that's about from my end.
Yeah, thanks, Anup. Yeah, so Fatima is also one of our organizers, but she's not there today. So let's move to the speaker of the day. So before I hand over to Abhishek, most of you must be knowing Abhishek already. So it's been quite a long time since Calicut MuleSoft have conducted a meetup, but then Abhishek was really generous that as soon as I just asked him or invited him for this, he was so readily available, to take the meetup. And I think the last meetup Abhishek was with us was for Munich, so that was also really good and it went great. I mean, we had lots of attendees there. So yeah, Abhishek, over to you. Thanks for accepting Calicut MuleSoft's request for this. So yeah, please go forward. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Anup. First of all, thank you to Calicut Group for inviting me over here. And hello, everyone. So, hi, this is Abhishek. So, I'm working in Neuraflash as a principal developer. I'm a MuleSoft ambassador, speaker. I lead Lucknow and Guwahati Group. I have overall of 8+ years of experience in IT and 6+ years in MuleSoft. I am a certified developer and architect. I am MuleSoft Industry and GTM champion as well. I have other certifications in Salesforce, Solace, Delboomi, GCP. I write blogs, I create technical videos, and I also own a patent for developing a portable washing machine. So that's quite about me. John, please give
Yeah,
me
maybe I
present
can.
access.
Yes, I'll just stop presenting.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm just sharing my screen. I hope it is visible.
Yes, Abhishek, it's visible. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all about me, and let's now start with our topic, one-way and two-way SSL. So let's first see what agenda we have. So we will be discussing like what is SSL and TLS. We'll discuss about what is Keystore, Truststore, what a different encryption pattern or encryption method we have. We will see how the certificates get generated and what are the information we can see in that. And then we will demo on the working of one-way and two-way SSL. Okay. So before we go to the agenda, I want from the attendees, can you tell me what you understand from SSL or TLS? Anyone, just feel free to jump up and share what you know. Anyone? Anup, can you please go on mute, please? Anup?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone from the attendees, please let me know what you understand from this SSL and TLS. Please feel free as this is for learning. So just pick out whatever you understand. That's fine. Anyone would like to try?
So basically, one-way SSL is where the client validates the server when the request comes,
Hmm.
and
Right.
the server actually doesn't validate the client certificate.
Yeah, that's one way. But what you understand about SSL and TLS? What is that? Okay, no worries. So SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer, and TLS stands for Transport Layer Security. Now SSL is deprecated, because there were a lot of vulnerability what the team has found. So they have introduced TLS. Okay, so these are cryptographic protocol designed to provide communication security over a computer network. So when this client or server exchange data, to make that secure, to have an encryption, a cryptographic protocol or encryption algorithm in that, so that it can be communicated securely. Okay, that's why we have this SSL TLS, which is also known as SSL TLS handshaking protocol, or the two-way, where the client and server both validates its certificates, also known as mutual authentication. Okay, so SSL is deprecated. Now using SSL and TLS, a secure communication channel is established. Okay, so when the TCP session is established, the TLS session will be established. So TCP is transmission control protocol, which take care of creating a path where the data can be exchanged or transmitted. Okay, and then TLS worked on that. Okay, so the client and server negotiate a cipher suit. So what is a cipher suit? A cipher suit is a set of protocol to be used in TLS communication. Now, for example, your symmetric key, okay, or asymmetric key, the encryption algorithm. So we'll see about it more briefly in next coming slides. Okay, so the certificates verified, symmetric or asymmetric session key is generated, and this process is known as SSL TLS handshaking. So let us see how this process actually works, this handshaking process works. So we have a client and we have a server. So as you all are from MuleSoft, you know about it. Let's take the client as our HTTP requester and the server as a HTTP listener, where from requester, we are making a call to our listener, that means to a server. So when the client make a call to the server, the SSL TLS version is exchanged, cryptographic algorithms are exchanged, which are encrypted, and data compression methods take place. Okay, then the server will return with a response where what it exchange the cryptographic algorithm agreement, the session ID, the server digital key. So at the server side, what we have the key store. Okay, from the key store we share the certificate and a public key. When the server shares this certificate and public key, at the client side we have a trust store where it has the list of all the certificates which is coming from server, and with the help of the public key, it unlocks the certificate and verifies whether it is present in the trust or not. If it is present, then it create the session and send the data to server back. If not, then it will give invalid error to us. Okay, so now what is Keystore and Truststore? So Keystore contains private key and associate certificates having the public key. It has its own password. The owner retrieves a certificate from its key store and present it to other side, that means to the client. And what is trust store? A trust store has a list of all the certificates which the client trust, means the server when send the data to client, in its trust store, whatever certificate it has, it verify that. Okay, it is also protected by a password. So whenever server present its certificate, the client will verify it using the certificate present in trust store. Okay, now encryption. Encryption is the way to conceal information by altering it so that it append to be a random data. So whenever we encrypt any data, okay, so the script what is generated out of that, that is non-human readable. Okay, you cannot read it, you cannot know like what is the data inside that. That means it is encrypted, and it is of two types: a symmetric encryption and a asymmetric encryption. So symmetric encryption means private key encryption, and asymmetric means public key encryption. In symmetric, we are using the same key to encrypt and decrypt the data, but in asymmetric, we use different key, like there will be a private and a public key. Okay, so maybe this diagram will make it more clear. So when we use symmetric, the encryption methodology which takes place in between client and server using the same key to encrypt and decrypt the data. Whereas in asymmetric, the client may send the data with a public key encryption, but the server will have a private key to decrypt the data, so that if one key is lost, the data is not lost. Okay, in asymmetric. But in symmetric, if the key is lost, the defaulter, they will be able to encrypt your data and you lose some data. Okay, certificates, like when we created the certificates, how it looks, the certificate contains these details like owner detail, who issued it, the public key, the signature. Okay, and this is how it looks. So let me show you in this way. Like suppose in your Chrome, you can go and you can click on this. Okay, in the connection is secure, you can certificate and see. You will get the details of the certificate, like certificate public key, who issued, when it is issued. Okay, all this information you can get, right? Any questions so far? Anyone?
Nothing so far, Abhishek. I don't see anything in chats also. Guys, please feel free to ask. I mean, unmute yourself also to ask the questions or anything. It's not necessary you have to put in the chats. You're just reminding. Yeah, we can
Yes.
continue, Abhishek. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we go to demo, if you have any question or if you have any points to make, anything, any suggestion to give, please let me know. Nope. Fine. Now let's deep dive into the one-way and two-way working. Okay. Now understand how the one-way SSL works. So as repeated earlier as well. So we have a client and we have a server. So when we say one-way SSL, that means the server is get validated. Okay, the server is getting validated, not the client. The client is going to validate the server, but server is going to validate. So we have a key store in the server, okay, and we have a trust store in the client. So the key store contains the certificate and a public key which need to be shared to the client, and the client have a trust store where this certificate is listed, which will be validated whether it is the correct certificate or not from the server. So what happened here again? The client application will send a hello request to the server. Okay, then the server will it will try to create a secure connection, as it will be HTTPS. The server will send a response along with a public certificate from the key store and a public key, because that certificate can be opened by the public key only. So when the data is shared to client will validate that in the trust store to see whether this is the correct uh, user or not, the correct server or not. Once it will validate, the client will again send a session key encrypted with public key. Okay, it will send a session key encrypted with public key. Now the server will have a private key to encrypt that session key. Okay, so when the data came to server, the server will decrypt the session key using its private key and the session starts. Okay, and this way it create a encrypted or a secure connection between a client and a server. Okay, got it? So now how we create the certificates. So at present, what we are going to do, we are going to create a self-signed certificate. Okay, usually like it again depends to your organization. So you may get a CS signed certificate from your organization for production, but we can also create a self-signed certificate using this commands what you can see in your screen. So let me first take you through how this command works. Okay, now we'll create a key store. Then we will export the server public certificate from the server key store, the key store which we created at point 1. And then we will import that certificate in the client trust. Okay, so the command we are using is a key tool. So you need to have a Java, a JDK in your system, because we can have a key tool in Java. So we are going to use the key tool function where we will give command, say we need to generate a key pair and a key alias will be RSA. So RSA is an algorithm which help you generate the private and public key. Okay, it's a cryptographic algorithm. Then we will give a alias name. Okay, because whenever you use this key tool and you try to generate certificates, you need to give a alias so that later if you try to generate a separate certificate, you need to change the alias. Okay, so with using the alias, you can repeat the scenario to create the key store, to export the certificate and to import the certificate. So if you'll see over here, the Mule server demo is the alias which has been used throughout all the 3 commands. So it is connecting using that alias. Okay, then there is a hyphen key store which is going to create a server keystore.jks file. So our file type is JKS. The password for the key is pass1234, and the password for the JKS file, the keystore what we are creating, will be same, pass1234, but you can change this according to your use. Okay, so just for demo purpose, we are using the same. Now for exporting, again, we are using the key tool function where we will do export cert. Here we are exporting the certificate from the key store. So we are giving the name of the key store what we have generated, the same alias what we have done earlier. And from here we are generating a file, a certificate file we are generating. That's why hyphen file, and the name of the certificate, that is server certificate.cert, and a password for that. Next, we are importing that server to the truststore. So same in this, just after key tool, we are using import cert and creating a truststore. Okay, so are you clear with these commands? Any doubt on this? No? Fine. So now let us see generating this certificate and how we use in our application. Okay, so let me close this. So I'm using this folder where I will generate the certificates, and I will be using command prompt, or in Mac you say the terminal. Okay, so make sure you have a Java version in your system. So Java hyphen version to check you have Java or not. So I have a Java in this. Okay, in case if you don't have a Java, install a Java in your system and give the necessary Java home and path so that it will be accessible. Now let us generate the certificates. Okay, so I will take the command. Okay, sorry. So first command, okay. See what it is asking when we are creating the key store first. So it is asking for a first name and last name. So say Calicut Meetup. Okay. Then what is the name of your organizational unit? Say Meetup. What is the name of your organization? Say MuleSoft. Then what is the name of your city or location? Okay, Calicut. State. Okay. Then country. Okay, now it will ask you to verify the information what you have given is correct or not. So if everything is fine, say yes. Okay, so what it is saying, the JKS key store use a format, it is recommended. Okay, that's a warning. But now if you'll go and see the folder, the store has been created. Okay, so first step is done where we are creating the key store. Okay, now the second step is exporting the server public certificate from the key store. So we will use this command. Make sure you are giving the right alias, okay, and the right name for your key store what you have created just now. Okay, because it will be using that. So let me copy this. Okay, again I will go to my terminal and I will paste this command. Fine. Now if you'll go and see, the certificate is over here. Okay, now we will import this certificate and create our trust store. So sorry, again and again I'm using this. Let me quit this. Yeah. Now we'll create the trust store. Okay, fine. So we'll use this command, and what we are doing, we are importing the certificate which we have created now. Make sure the certificate name, the alias, everything is same as you have used earlier, and we will be creating a client trust store. Okay, so enter. Now it will ask whether you want to create it or not. Say yes, and certificate was added to Keystore. Now if you'll see, you have all the three files which you have used the command prompt to create. Let's see the certificate. Let's open it. View certificate. Okay, let's see the details in this, what we have. See, so whatever information we have given, we can see all this. Automatically it generates the serial number version, the algorithm. Okay, we have used RSA algorithm, so it has said that public key info. Okay, all this information it has provided over us here. Okay, now let's go to our Mule application and use this. So I have already created one. So I have already used that in my application. So here I have created a flow where I have used one-way SSL, where my requester is the client and my listener is the server. So now first let us take an info of what this flow is or what it is going to do to us. So any question on this? Anyone? Are we good with this part at least?
Yes, Abhishek, it was very clear. Yeah.
Okay. Nothing on the chat as well, right?
No.
Nothing, Abhishek.
Okay, fine. So let me explain you what I have done over here. We have a listener. So this is a simple HTTP listener. Okay, we are not securing this because I will be using this to call from my Postman. So you can see the configuration what we have over here. It's a normal HTTP with on 8081. Okay, and the path to call this will be one way. Okay, next we have a requester. Now this requester is HTTPS. Okay, and this listener, this is also HTTPS where the path is test one way and the port for this is 8082. Okay, so if you'll see the requester again, we are calling the listener for the server with on 8082 port as we are deploying it locally, so localhost. And here we have the option. So whenever you enable a TLS, the protocol, whenever you enable a TLS, sorry, HTTPS, you have to provide a TLS config. Now there are multiple way of doing that. Okay, either inline, like within the configuration itself, you can provide that. But suppose if the same TLS config is going to be repeated for other requester as well. Okay, so you can choose a global one. Okay, what I have done. So I have used a global config and globally I have created a trust store. Now what we have in the trust store? Okay, so here I have used my certificate, like I have provided my certificate in the resource folder, cert.oneway, and I have given the reference to that path, the password of the trust store, and the type, which is JKS. Okay, that is one configuration. And for listener, again, same. Here we need to provide the TLS, where I have provided the key store, and here the password, the path, and the type. Okay, now let us run this. Okay, and see whether it is creating a secure connection or not. Let's debug this so that if there will be any error, it will stop and we can analyze the error. Okay, any questions so far? Until the time it is running, it will take few minutes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
while generating the certificate for the
Hmm.
server,
Yeah.
we give two password. One is store password and the key password. And
Right.
when we are configuring the key store,
Yeah.
there also one key password we are giving and one
Store password.
password, right?
Yes.
So first of all, the key password is the one key and the store password is password.
See, the store password is the password for the certificate, the keystore.jks file, right? It is the password for that JKS file, and the key password is the password for the key. Internally, is what it does. It generate a public key and a private key itself, right? It
Yeah,
has that. So
yeah.
to secure that, it creates a password for that key.
Okay. And
Okay.
it can be different or it has to be always
It
same.
can be different. We are using same. It can be different. It is up to you.
Okay, fine.
But whatever data you are giving, like whatever password you are giving for your Keystore Trust or whatever you are giving, it should be matching at the time of what you are given when creating the certificate.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Fine. So now our application is running and I will call my one way. Okay, so it is running. Let me show you again. So when I call my system, response from one-way server, and this is what we had in our response from the server, right? So this is establishing a one-way, okay, where the server has provided the certificate and the requester has validated that. Fine. Now let us go to the two-way. Okay, and there is one more part where I will show you what if you are giving a wrong key truststore or keystore. That we will do, but after the two-way one. Okay, once the two-way is done, I will show you what error it generates. Okay, so now let's go to the second one, which is our two-way. Okay, so now let us understand how the two-way SSL works. So I hope you are clear with the one way, okay? How the client is requesting, how the server is giving the certificates, how the client is validating that, and a connection is established. So the similarly, the one way, how it done for one particular way where the client is validating server. Now in two way, the server will also validate the client. So that is a mutual authentication or mutual handshaking, we can say, where both the parties are providing the certificates and both the parties are also validating it. Okay, so that's where the two-way come into picture. So similarly, when the client is requesting the data to the server, okay, so the server will send the session key and the public certificate and the public key. The client will validate that. It will send a session key which will be encrypted, and the server will decrypt that using the private key. So that one session is done. Now along with the session key and uh, other details, the client is also going to share its certificate and public key to the server, which need to be validated in the server trust store. Okay, so client has validated, it is sending a session key to the server that it is validated. Now you can decrypt using your private key, but along with that, this time the client is going to share what? The client is going to share its certificate and public key from its key store to the server to be validated at the trust store of the server, where the trust store has list of all the certificates of the client. Now once this came to server, now server will validate it. It will send a session key and a public key, which will be decrypted from the private key of the client. Okay, so both way they are sharing the certificates from their key store, and in both places the key stores are getting validated in the respective trust store to create a connection between both the client and the server. Okay, and now the TLS and SSL, this handshaking is not just restricted to HTTP, as we have just taken an example, but whichever connector have this ability to set a TLS connection, you can use this concept of one-way and two-way SSL. Okay, so let us see the command. So these are same. So what we do over here is, first, in the first point, we create a server key store. If you'll see the third point, we export the public certificate of the server key store. And if you'll see the fifth point, we are importing that certificate to the client trust store. That is one part. Second part, now the client key store will be generated in point 2. In point 4, you will see the client certificate will export the client from the client key store. And in 6th, you will see a server trust store is getting created, which will contain this certificate which has been created from the client key store, right? So for this also, I have already this certificates. So let's see the client certificate. If you view it, you can see all the details over here. Okay. Uh, Sorry, I can't show this one, but the same way, like, okay, the same way what you have seen over here, all the details. Okay. The same way you will see the details for that as well, for the client certificate and the server certificate. Okay, you will be able to see that. So now see how we are configuring this. Okay, so we'll go back to our application. It is still running, no worries. So again, the same scenario where we have a listener a requester and a listener of the server. So our requester is the client and our server, the listener is the server. Then the configuration. So this part, it is using the same HTTP listener with 8081 and the path is two-way. But what configuration we have for the requester, let's see that. So in this, we are using, this time we are using port 8091, the same two-way requester global configuration we have. In this time we need to provide both client keystore and client truststore. Okay, so it is here in this folder in the resource two-way. Okay, the password we have given, the respective password what it have. Okay, both the keystore and truststore. Similarly, for the listener, https 8091. Okay, we are giving the configuration for this, which is here, the server truststore, jks file. Okay, and the keystore, and the respective password for this. Okay, so here we have the certificates. Fine. Now let us see if this executes correctly or not. Okay, so two-way, I hope this is running. Yes, response from two-way server. So this is what the response we had. Okay, that means this is working. Okay, so we have established a successful two-way two-way SSL. Okay, or mutual handshaking or mutual authentication between both that. Okay, so our one-way is working, our two-way is working. Okay, any doubt on this? Anyone? Any question?
Nothing in the chat, Abhishek.
Nothing? Okay.
How we are going?
Now let's
How
see
we are
what
going?
happens if we don't provide a valid certificate. Okay, so let's play around with the one way.
Uh,
Similarly,
uh,
yeah,
one second, Abhishek. I think someone was speaking. Was it Anjani?
Yeah, Anjali. So I
Yeah, yeah.
wanted to understand how we are generating the trust store, key store, server certificate because you have just
you want
shown.
anything, Anjali?
Yeah, so I wanted to understand how we are generating the trust store, key store, server certificate. Can you
Abhishek,
hear me?
are you able to hear him?
No, I can't.
Yeah, actually, he's speaking. I know we are able to hear him, right? I think he's
Yes,
speaking.
yes,
So
I can. Yeah. So Abhishek, he wanted to understand how to create a trust store and how to create a key store.
certificate key story. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, we'll take that part again. Okay, let me go to the error thing. Then we'll again go to the codes what we have used, and I will show you like how we have created it. That's fine.
Anjani, you're able to hear him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Abhishek will let us know about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
we'll do that after just
yes.
this two three topics I have, and we'll do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
All right.
now let's see what happens if we don't provide a proper certificate, maybe a keystore trust store, and we try to run that. Okay. So in one way, what I will do is I will provide a wrong trust store. Okay. So we already have a trust store in our two-way certificate. So this time what I will do, I will provide the data of two-way client trust store, which we are trying to pass it to the one-way key store. Okay, so we are trying to validate the key store for a one-way SSL in the trust store of a client two-way SSL. So that means we have not imported that. It should provide us an error. Okay, it should come up with an error. So let us debug this. Okay, Okay, so it was deployed. Now we'll try to hit and see we got an error. What it is saying, PKS path validation failed. Okay, so cert security cert. So this is giving an issue, like this validation issue occur when we are giving a wrong certificate. So it is giving you that failure because we are using a wrong trust store for the key store what we have applied. Okay. Also, what there is one more option now. Suppose you are calling a server and you don't have that trust store, you can make it as insecure. Insecure means even though you are not passing any trust store, it works, and the name itself suggests it's insecure. Okay, so this is like uh, just to pass it, we are doing that, but this is not a secure type. Okay, it is not secure to do that. We are just manually making it insecure just to pass the call. Okay, that's what we can do. Also, for studio, whenever you want to test it, okay, I will make it try it first. So if you want to run this in studio just for practice or anything, make sure there is a argument we need to pass, okay, which you probably may not acquired in your cloud 1 or cloud 2, but this is one argument which we need to pass in studio in order to execute the one-way and two-way, so to accept any kind of certificate, and that will work fine. Okay, I don't think my chat is working, so I cannot provide that, but you can find that there are many online blogs where you can find it and you can use that. Okay, so I will show you again. So this is that command. Okay, decon.name.http.client.async.http client config.accept any certificate equal to fine. So I hope this part is clear to everyone. Any question on this part? Anjani will come to that certification generation, but at present, any question till this part? Anyone? No? All good? John, Anup?
Yes, 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 Abhishek. Nothing in the chats. I think we're all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing you can do, John, like from the PPT, you can put this command in the chat. So
Ah, yes.
Anjani, yeah, Anjani, coming to your question, how we generate a keystone in trust storage. So we have some
Okay.
commands. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Who is this, Anjani?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think Anjali is
Oh, okay.
speaking. Yep, yep,
Okay, now
yep.
I can hear you. Okay, fine.
Yes.
So Anjani, these are the commands we are using this key tool command. So first of all, what you need to have is you need to have a Java version. Okay, so if you'll see Java hyphen version to check you have a Java in your system or not. If not, so there are ways to install Java and set the Java path and path. Sorry, Java home and path. Maybe it is Windows or Mac. Okay, there are ways to do that. So once you do that and you do Java version, you will see whether a Java is there or not. Once you do that, you need to use this command, key tool command. So now I have opened my terminal in this cert folder. That's why it is creating in that. So whichever folder you will choose, you can choose that and you can generate it. So let's see the command. It is key tool gen key pair. Okay, where we are giving an alias and it is a RSA algorithm alias to the file which we are creating, the server key store. Okay, so when we are using key tool, that means uh, we are giving some detail to the Java, right? So it saves that detail using some alias. So we have used the alias mule server demo. We are going to generate a server keystore.jks file. Okay, so jks is our store type. Okay, this is our store and the type is jks. Then the key pass, as we are creating a public and private key for this, the password for that key and the store password, that means the password of this file. Okay, so when first you will generate this and if this alias doesn't match with your existing, it will ask for you some questions. The first is give your first name and last name. Okay, so you can give your name. Okay, whatever name you think will be best for this, you can give that. Then your organizational unit, like you may have some developed vertical or something, so you can give that name. Okay, what is your organization name? Then which city or location you are, which state or provision, and what is your country code. Like for India it is IN, for United States it is US, so you can define that. Once you do that, it will ask you to check if everything is correct. If you think this is not correct, you want to change something, say no. If you think it is correct, then say yes. Once you do that, it will generate the keystore file, the .jks format. Okay. Next, the keystore is done. You need to export the certificate out of the keystore. Okay, out of the keystore, you need to export the certificate, which is this one, server certificate. Okay, so for that, the command you will use is key tool export certificate. Okay, keystore, as you have created a keystore file. Now your keystore name was server-store.jk, so you need to give the exact name, alias, the same alias, because it is running for the same one. You are going to generate a file which is server certificate.ser. Okay, and you will give the password for the key store which you have used over here. Okay, because you are extracting the certificate from the same key store. Okay, once you do that, this certificate is created and you can see the detail whether whatever you have passed is correct or not. Okay, see, this certificate has not been verified by a third party because we have created a self-signed certificate. It is not a CA signed certificate, it is a self-signed, so it is not verified by anyone. Now you can see the same information what you have provided at the time of creating the key store, you are getting that in the certificate as well. Okay. Now this certificate what we have created, we need to import that certificate in the client trust store, so that when the one-way SSL or two-way SSL will take place, when the server will send this certificate to the client for verification, this certificate need to be found in the client trust store. Okay, so we will import this certificate in the client trust store. So for that, the command we will use is key tool import certificate this time. Okay, import certificate key store, where we are creating a trust store file. Okay, so the key store is also a function. Again, a type is JKS, a store password, like the password for the trust store, and the file which we are going to import in the trust store, which is our server certs.ser. Okay, and the same alias what we are using so far. Okay, Mule server demo, because it is connected to the same trust store and the certificate. So once you do that, it will give you the owner information and the issuer information. Okay, all this serial number, validation, everything, whatever you can see in the certificate, right? Whatever data was there in the certificate, you can see everything matching over there. Okay, fine, you can see that matching over there. Okay, and now once this is done, what it will do, it will ask whether you want to create the certificate or not, or trust this certificate. If you do yes, it will add the certificate in the keystore. That means the trust to what you have created, it will add the certificate inside that. So once you get these three files, you have to use the keystore, the server keystore and the client trust store, as we have done over here. And the trust store will go to the requester which you are using to make the request, and the key store will be in the listener to the server where you are going to make the request. To which server you are going to make the request, you are defining that as the key store information. Okay, once you do this, and now if you'll execute your API, the connection will be established, the one-way SSL will be established, and a secure connection will be established between the server and the client, and you can exchange your data. Got it? Still any doubt?
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay.
Abhishek. Thank you. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Anjani, for the question. So, Abhishek, we have one more question now.
Yeah. Sure.
Probably I can read it out, since you're not able to see the chat. So,
Sure.
it's from Ajay Santosh. So, he's
Huh.
asking, in real-time scenarios, if we forget the password of Keystore and Truststore and we are not encrypting it with the environment key, is it possible to retrieve the password?
Retrieve the password. See, I have not. There may be commands which we can use, but I'm not sure. Like you should not misplace the keys to be at the first place. You need to be sure at like when you are where you are keeping it. But there may be ways which I'm not sure at present if we can do this for this one or not. But yeah, as you are keeping the alias and things, you would be able to do that.
Yep. Hope
Uh,
that.
yeah, Abhishek, I have one question.
Yeah,
So,
please.
you explain the steps or the events in case of one-way or two-way SSL.
Hmm.
However, we can make the insecure connection as well. So let's
Right.
from client side we have made it insecure. What is
Right.
the steps should
Yes.
to make it insecure?
You, your network is quite disruptive. Can you repeat the last part?
Yeah. So I am saying when we make connection insecure. So let's say from client side, I have made it. I have checked the insecure connection. What are the
Uh-huh.
steps to make it actually insecure? What are the steps which are not performed?
No,
Uh,
to make it insecure, you don't have any steps to do. Just whenever you are enabling the TLS, just make it insecure. Just check this box. That's it.
yeah, correct. We check
Uh,
this box, but
uh,
in this case, there are number of events which are performed to either like to do the handshake, right? In one way SL or two SL.
okay. No, no. No such event is required. Just if there is a key store at the client, at the server end, and we are doing a requester, so it doesn't matter. Okay, what certificate is at the other end. If you make it insecure, so it will say, okay, whatever certificate you are sending me, that is secure for me. Just establish a connection. You don't have to perform any such steps or event for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, Abhishek. I think we have one more question
Yeah,
from
please.
Sai Krishna. So,
Yes, I.
how server validates a different client? Example, server having four different clients.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his
Sir,
question. He's asking how the server validates different clients, more than one client.
so the keystore certificate what we have created. So if you have different clients, uh, so you will be sharing the same detail to them, right? So what I understand, like the same trust tool need to be shared between them. You cannot have several keystore for your this one for your same server. You cannot have that. Your client can have the same trust store for multiple clients you have, or you can import the certificates in their trust store, right? To validate, okay, we are trusting this trust store, we want to import our certificate in their trust store, so that whenever the certificate is exchanged to that client, it will be validated. Or you can have two-way validation over there, so you want to do that. But again, like the server is one, the connection is one, so you can have the same key store, or in the trust store you can have several certificates for their key store. That's what you can do. Getting my point, or does it making any sense? Now let me repeat again. So when the server is sharing its key store, okay, so the server certificate need to be in the client trust store. Okay, so you can import that, right? Similarly, the server trust or what the server have. Now if we are doing two-way SSL where the client is getting validated at server, so in server trust store we can have different certificate from the key store, right? We can have several trust certificate. So when the client is making a call and we are doing two-way where the client is also getting validated at the server, so using that key store certificate at the server's trust store, the server can validate whether it is the correct client or not.
Yes, Abhishek. So I
Yeah.
got it. Like you are trying to say is like so we need to add four different clients client
Yes.
certificates in the trust store
Server
so
trust
that
store, right?
it will validate automatically from in the trust store itself.
Yes, exactly.
So okay. So is there any identifier or automatically using the trust store itself internally that's it will validate, or we need to send any external parameter to, like, this is getting from client A, client B, client C, like that, or internally by using like their client certificates in the trust store itself, it will validate automatically.
Uh, from the client itself, see, if you'll see this command, okay, so the alias what we are using to
Ah,
create the server key store and other things, right, the certificates.
okay,
So if
okay,
we are creating a trust store, there also we have a alias, right? So
okay,
when we are doing that, okay, so now if I need to import the client certificate, okay, the client certificate, this one, in my
yeah,
trust store, so I am giving this detail, right, what is the name of the file,
okay,
okay, and the alias, this alias is of the like the trust or what I have created, right? In that
okay,
I can import that. So that's why
yeah,
if you'll see this command, what it asks at the last, trust this certificate or not, whatever
okay,
you are importing. So already you have this first two part is already there, right? The first two
yeah,
part is already created. Just you
mm,
need to export or you need to import the certificate what the client is giving you, need to be there in your server trust store, so that
okay,
you can use import using this import command,
yeah.
this function, so that it will be there in your client trust store.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. Like using this alias, so
Right.
it will identify different client A, client B, client C, and it will validate inside it. Okay,
Yes, right.
yeah, got it. Thanks, actually.
Yes, because see, my file, my trust store file is same. Just
Yes,
what you are doing, you are importing different certificates for that.
yeah, yeah, because yeah, that's what we'll get this
Yeah.
type of requirement. Like we have different clients, so we cannot maintain
Right.
with different certificates, right? So we can add it in single trust storage. Okay, got it.
Right. That's why if you'll see at the beginning when I spoke about trust store, a trust store has a list of all certificates which client trusts.
Okay,
All certificates.
yeah,
Right?
got it. Yeah, thanks. Got it.
Yeah. Any other question?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, Abhishek. Maybe I'm just repeating the same question, but
No worries. No
I
worries.
wanted
Tell
to
me.
be more clear. When
Hmm.
we make the connection insecure, the
Your voice is not very clear.
is it
Can you?
clear now?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, I'm saying when we
Hmm.
are making the connection as insecure,
Right.
do we not perform any one-way or two-way SSL entire process at all?
See. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let us try. Okay. How we do it. So let me try this. I hope this should work. I'm doing it for one way where I have removed all the data for the trust store and I make it insecure. Okay.
Yeah, so how, like,
Huh.
in my project also I have, like, when while testing from local, I do it as
Okay.
insecure.
I
And
got your point. I got your
yeah,
point. See, in
I want
that
to
case,
understand how the
uh,
server
I got
side.
your point.
Yeah.
I got your point. See, in that you need to have a key store at the server. See, if you need to enable a TLS at the listener level, there is no insecure option over here. You need to have a key store. Now, suppose the key store is there at the server end, but you as a client, you don't have the trust store. Still, you want to have a connection with that server, right?
Yeah, right.
So at the client end, you can make it as a insecure, but the key store need to be there. If there is no key store, that means the HTTPS will not be enabled. And if it is not enabled, that means there is no secure connection. There is no one-way or two-way SSL. I hope that is what you wanted, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if I don't give anything and if I try to run this HTTPS, it will give me error. Okay. Because HTTPS need a TLS. Getting my point?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Any other question?
Um, so, Abhishek, I would like to add one point
Sure.
to make it clear. So, generally, we will use that insecure when you have a third party application which is HTTPS, and then and then you don't want to provide a trust store, right? That the point that you will have insecure option, so that you want to say, so that when you send a request, when you send a request to the third party application, you are not trusting that, you don't want to trust the client. Okay, you are just sending the request and then it just returns it back. Okay, so that is, you will generally use insecure, but it's not recommended when you deploy to cloud app and all.
Yes, majorly for production, it is not recommended to make it insecure and deploy. Okay,
Okay.
that's not a best practice we can say.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Anu.
Yeah.
And
Any other question? Now see, if you'll see, it failed. Why? Configuration protocol is HTTPS, but there is no TLS configuration. Why? Because at the listener, what I have done at the listener level, I have made it HTTPS, but I have not given any TLS. That's why we got this error. The application doesn't deploy it saying that there is an error as there is no TLS context configured for listener. Okay, so if you are making it HTTPS, you need to have a key store over here. Make sense?
yeah,
Yeah. Any other question?
Hi, Abhishek. I have one question here.
Yeah. Who's this? Can you please
Yeah, this
say
is
your name?
Sai.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sai. Yeah.
Like we have Taylor's version, right? So we have versions. So is there generally enhancement from Taylor's versions or any parameters we need to look at? Because generally different clients we versions. So any
Right.
specific parameters we need to look when we're using versions, or it generally it's a enhancement from the Taylor's side.
Uh, See, when you create the certificate for that, I don't think you need any such version type. Anyhow, the latest is 1.3.
Okay.
Okay, so it takes that. Okay, I don't found like whether we need to define any such in while creating the certificates at least.
Okay.
When you are deploying, there also maybe there would be some uh, choice to make which version you want, but by default, it takes the latest version only.
Okay. Because I faced one of the project. This is
Mhm.
the issue. The specific version is not working. Only the what are the client they provide that version only it was working.
Right, right, it do. But
Okay.
again, for that, again, we have several limitations when it comes to Cloud 1 and Cloud 2. So
Oh,
Cloud 2 also accept certain versions like 1.2, 1.3.
yeah.
Okay. So you can also check that we have a MuleSoft doc where it specify like what versions Cloud 2 uh, enables or is acceptable for TLS.
Yeah. Okay. Got
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other question? This is amazing, guys. You all are interacting and getting your attention, so that make the meetup more lovelier. Please bring on if you have any questions. We will try to answer or we can discussion. Any question? And I hope you are looking to my screen as well. Yes, Prerna, you have seen my screen. So see, when I when
yeah,
I when
yeah,
I run for one way, I'm getting the response, right? So if you'll see the configuration, what I did at the requester, I'm okay. Sorry, this is for two-way, one-way. Yeah. So at the requester, I made it insecure. I have not given any trust store. Still, it doesn't give me any error for certificate, and it worked.
yeah.
Okay, so that's how the insecure work.
Okay.
Getting it? I hope this make it more clear now. Like
Yeah,
how what steps we follow and how it works.
yeah.
Okay. Any other question, team?
Yeah, I think we are good, Abhishek. I don't see anything in the chats, but yeah, if anyone else wants to unmute and speak, please feel free.
So if no question, then you can stand a chance to nominate yourself to be a speaker to the group. You can reach out to leaders, me, anyone, if you want to be a speaker, and we can also help you preparing the topic. And you can find the meetups detail from the meetup page. So John, would you like to take it up from here? Then
Yeah, sure, sure.
I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. It was really a very detailed session. So we were able to really clearly understand that one-way SSL and two-way SSL. Thanks.
Thank you, Anip. Thank you, John, and thank you all to all the
Yes, yes,
participants. They have actually participated a lot with questions and paid attention. So we love the
Yeah.
way you have participated here. Thank you so much.
yes, yeah. Thank you again, Abhishek, from my side. Yeah, just like what Abhishek said, guys. Please feel free to reach out to us. I'm just putting in the LinkedIn handles of all of us, including Abhishek. So if you have any questions, right, that you want to address post the stand up, please feel free to reach out to Abhishek or any one of us. I've just posted it in the chat. So please reach out to us in LinkedIn. And also, if you feel like you wanna, or if you want to nominate yourself or anyone else, for the next upcoming meetups of Calicut group, please feel free to reach out for that too. And yes, you'll be getting a feedback form post this. I think a few hours after this, so please feel free to fill it up and just give us your valuable suggestions either through that form or maybe personally you can let us know what we want to improve or any other suggestions for next topics. Please feel for that. Yes, that's all from my side. Again, thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Anup, for all the coordination. Thank you guys for joining, especially on a Saturday. So, yeah, let's meet up for the next topic.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you all.